So I just settled up my bill at the boatyard. It came out to about 1,900 euros, and I'll break that down in a little bit, but it wasn't really, it was about what I expected. It wasn't too bad, actually. Here's my shiny new propeller. We had to make a spacer, remachine the shaft, got a little shorter so it fits in there better. We'll put a lower profile zinc in there, but shouldn't have any more issues hitting the rudder at least. And this is a slightly bigger propeller, so I can have the RPMs a little lower.
It's okay.
Yep, looks good. Plenty of clearance there.
Okay?
Yep. Here comes the big travel lift. Gonna take Pickle into the water. Alright, we're backing off the lift. Man, this new propeller I am liking. It's really good. So now I'm just in neutral, but you see the motor, you see it? It's wiggling. All right, enough of that motor. Got our new sails out, or just the jib so far, but it looks awesome. See some white caps, so I think there's some more wind out there. Way out there. Sails are up. Looking pretty good. The mainsail definitely needs to be readjusted a little bit, but I think we're pointing pretty high. Heeled over pretty hard. Probably put a reef in the first reef in the mainsail, and then maybe we'll definitely have a better shape then. So it's kind of hard to tell, but I'd say these sails are definitely doing better than the old ones. We're doing 4 knots, 4.5 knots sometimes on the port tack, and we were doing 5 knots on the starboard tack, and this is pretty choppy water. It's kind of hard to make progress in. Also, the angles look a little better than before. I say we got a few degrees of able to point a few degrees higher to windward than before. So I'd say I'm happy with the sail so far. The main sail was quite a struggle to get up. I'm not sure if I just didn't have it pointed in the wind enough, or maybe it's a little heavier than my old sail. So we'll see. We'll see about that. Also, it's also having the weird thing of it being too big is annoying. Looking at the chart, you can see the upwind tacking angles are quite good for this amount of wind, I'd say. So yeah, pretty happy with the performance so far. You can see tons of boats out sailing today. Doesn't look like I'll be able to find any secluded spots. So we got some pretty good wind today. The plan is just to sail a few miles north, and we're actually getting close to being there. We did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tacks. I'm just gonna anchor in this bay up here. And I think we'll have some leftover wind. I can pick out the wing foil. There's supposed to be a cave around here too. It'll just be nice to kind of be back on the water. And one thing I noticed in the boatyard is, man, the boat is so much hotter when it's out of the water than in the water, I guess. It was getting to 40 degrees Celsius every day in there. And I was having to go find cool activities to do. I went and saw some movies during the day. I went to see museums just to get out of the heat. But we stay a little bit cooler on the boat, and then plus we'll have we can just jump in and swim anytime we want. It was kind of gross to swim around the boatyard, I thought. So it looks like a spot up here. Looks like plenty of room. Fish farms out here. Nice anchor to the middle of the fish farm. So here's the breakdown of the bill from the marina for those who are interested. Looks like $414 for the haul in and relaunch. Then the time in the yard, 120. That was a minimum fee, so I could have stayed for up to 2 weeks, I think, for that price. And then the labor and materials, 818. Worked out, I guess, a 279 was for the propeller, and then 540 was for the labor. And I think it was like 50 an hour or something. And then, yeah, the machine shop, they had to remachine my shaft to have the new taper and straighten it out a bit. So that's what it was, and worked out to 1618 plus the 291 VAT, 1,900 euros total. So I anchored here overnight. Unfortunately, there wasn't any wind to do any wing foiling after I got here, but we're gonna sail around to Gozo today and try to just test out the sails more, and maybe get a wing foil today. And maybe Saturday sail toward Greece. Got that brand new mainsail still looking awesome. I tied that bottom corner underneath the boom to kind of tighten up the luff there. That seemed to work okay. These cool sea caves I went and swam in last night. They're pretty neat. And just sailing around these fish farms here. Camino Island here and Gozo over here. I'm going to sail in between them around to the backside. I think there was a cool anchorage. The couple on Sailing Atticus told me about it. Apparently there's a nice little hike by there too. So it should be protected kind of on all sides. So then make an anchor and then wing foil around and go for some hikes. We're doing 5 knots right now with 8 knots of wind, which is like amazing. And we're pointing so high. I can cheat these sails in like so much tighter and they still have like an awesome shape. Like I can get that sail just like so flat. Like the other sail, no matter how much tighter, it would still be all bagged out. This is amazing. Love these sails. I thought they were going to be lighter, but they're actually maybe even a little heavier than my other sails because I think they're like multiple layers for durability. Which is like, on the one hand, it would be kind of nice to have lighter sails. They're easier to raise. Wind shifting. I gotta change directions. That was a big shift. Wow. 90 degrees. Okay. But they're hard to get up because they're so stiff. So hopefully if I crinkle them up a little bit, at least the mainsail, then maybe it'll get easier to raise, hopefully. So I found this awesome little bay here in Camino. Decided to anchor here. Not too crowded. There's a few boats. 35 feet of water. And I think I've got about 85 feet of scope out. Not very great, but not quite much room to do much more. Maybe I could do 100 feet. Starting to get a little crowded in here. What is this guy doing? A little big for this anchorage, I think. Not sure. Should put the anchor out there though. Well, it's getting kind of crowded in that anchorage on Camino, so I started to sail over to Gozo up here. That's really we've only gone about 10 miles today, but we've basically covered half the country of Malta. And then if you add in yesterday, we did almost the whole country of Malta. So we're getting close to this anchorage. I'd like to get there if I get there by 6, then I have enough time to run to the grocery, and then maybe take off tonight or tomorrow morning, start heading towards Greece. It's a very high cliff right there. And then right around the corner is our anchorage, hopefully. We go through a little pass up here. into town. Almost at the grocery. Back to Pickled Herring. Well, thank you for watching. Tune in next time when I sail to Syracuse in Sicily, Italy, from Gozo, Malta. That'll be the next video. What should I say? Oh, big thanks to Rolly Tasker Sails Spenanui for setting me up with these beautiful new laminate sails free of charge. I love them very much. It was probably my fault measuring them. I only had a 10-foot tape measure, and I tried to get them exactly like the old ones, but it came out a little too big. But that'll be no big deal. We'll just find some place to recut that bottom corner there. My workaround's been working okay. Just kind of tied it down below the boom. I like to talk about sails a little bit. I'm not really an expert in sail material and stuff, but from what I understand, well, I really want a laminate sail. When they reached out to offer me the sails, that was the one thing I wanted. I said if I want to go through the trouble of getting new sails, I want to get laminate sails because I thought the other ones were not that bad. Now I realize how bad that my other sails had gotten. You know, the normal deck run sails just don't hold their shape, you know, for their whole life. They actually can lose it pretty quick from what I've heard. And that's one of the big advantages of the laminate sails. They were kind of trying to push me away from the laminate sails because I guess they can get mildewy, and they have some people I've heard they don't last as long, you know. But the advantage is they'll have that great shape the whole life, you know. Like whereas with I'm putting, you know, I've done 6,000 miles this year already. Maybe I might do 10,000 miles by the end of the year. I could probably lose this if I got a Dacron sail that was just cross cut. I think they could stretch out probably by that time, and that would be kind of a bummer. I love how these sails sail now, so I want to keep that shape. So that's the advantage of the laminate. So you got like a mylar membrane or something on the inside, and then inside there's polyester. It's a polyester sail, so there's polyester like strands, and they're going the direction the loads need to be. That's why it's the radial tri-cut instead of a cross-cut, the stripe pattern, and that gives it a lot of the more strength. So I think the problem with a typical Dacron cross-cut sail is then you're pulling on the bias a lot of times, and that they just don't have a good shape that way. So every boat I've sailed had laminate sails I was pretty impressed with, and my beach catamaran had them, so I wanted to get them, and I think I'm happy with it. They're quite a bit stiffer and heavier than I was really expecting. Like, I guess that's because these are the cruising variety, so they actually have extra layer for durability. So maybe the durability isn't an issue. I think just the mildew maybe gets between the layers. When they get wet, they look kind of funky, like in the evenings. But I don't really care if they work great, and they still look good to me. I'm posting the videos a little later. I sailed to Turkey and then back to Greece. So I've done about 1,000 miles on the sails so far, and they're holding up pretty good. They are like the individual layers are kind of thin, I guess. So they have a few little wear holes pretty quick on them, but because it's 3 layers, I'm not too worried. I did get the left pad in the front, so it's like a foam pad that goes in the jib, and that will just kind of helps the reefing. I'm happy with that. I would always get that if you have a roller furler jib sail. I had a sail without that. Actually, the sails on that Ranger I sailed to Hawaii were Rolly Tasker sails, and that one didn't have the left pad, and it was just horrible whenever I roller reefed it. The left pad makes a big difference, I think. It's not perfect, but it totally works to roller reefing if you have a left pad in there. And one last thing to mention that I had done on these sails differently than before was where I put the reef points. So I only did 2 reef points as opposed to 3 like I usually do. My thinking was, like, I usually am only using the deepest reef anyway. And I'm already trying to pick between the second or third reef, and I just decided to just have one reef that's my deep reef, and then another reef that's, well, here I can show you where they are. There's the first reef, it's about right there. So that would be much deeper than normal first reef, but I would put that in around 12 knots. It's nice if you're going upwind. Then another reef is just below the spreaders, my second reef. and that gets to be pretty nice around 16, 18 knots to have that one in. And then beyond that, in the past I've done even deeper reef, you know, so it's great and really tons of wind, but what I found is when you have reefs that sail that small, you just can't go upwind at all. So I either want enough sail to go upwind with the main, or I'll just put the mainsail away and go downwind. That's kind of been my thinking now. And I'm a lot more comfortable sailing. Sorry, adjust the wind a bit. Yes, we're working. Yes, I've gotten more comfortable with having the rail in the water. It's not ideal, but this is just a good setup that works for me. My main thing about not having too many reefs is I only want reefs that I'm going to use, because having those lines, the reefing lines, they just get tangled on everything. If anybody has a good solution for how to keep your reefing lines, no lines in the back, I mean, from tangling when you raise and lower the sail around, they get on the solar panels, on the Dodger, or the winches, and my neck. I seen a race boat once that had like bungee cords, like kind of on the back of the leech of the sail, and they were like running through there. I haven't tried that. If anybody has tried that, let me know. I'd love a good solution for those reefing lines. They just drive me crazy. So if you have 3 reefs, then you got even more lines. I could probably sometimes I would just have 1 reefing line set up, but if I'm going to use the reefs, I'm not going to like try to run a line through there while it's really windy and easily. So they kind of have to be set up and ready to go. And this has been working pretty good. And if it's too windy to use the deep reef, yeah, I usually end up heaving 2. Then the bigger, having a little bit more main is okay. And then running downwind, I usually just drop the main altogether and just have a little tiny bit of jib. And that's kind of my storm sailing strategy. And use the series drag like I did a couple weeks ago. Yeah, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.